Renowned economist Kwame Pianim says the country is bankrupt and inflation increases for a third consecutive month, recording 43.1% in July from 42.2%. These and many more coming up shortly. Hello there, good evening and welcome to Business Brief here on TV3. My name is Michael Obudu. Let's check out some other business stories that have been making the rounds in the world of business today.
Today in business, inflation increases marginally to 43.1% in July 2023 from the 42.2% recorded in June 2023. According to records by the Ghana Statistical Service, the rising food and non-alcoholic beverages inflation pushed the overall inflation up. Professor at the University of Ghana Business School, Godfred Bokpin, says the Bank of Ghana as an institution has to be protected against politics. According to him, the BOG intentionally compromised its independence and sold its birthright to the government by exposing itself too much to provide financial assistance to the latter. Renowned economist Kwame Pianim says Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta should sit up and tackle the economic challenges. Kwame Pianim disagrees with the Finance Minister's claim that the corner has turned relative to the economic challenges. He described the current economic challenges as unprecedented, as the country has never witnessed such problems before. China has slipped into deflation for the first time in over 2 years. Consumer prices declined in July. The official Consumer Price Index, a measure of inflation, fell by 0.3% last month from a year earlier. China produces a large proportion of the goods sold around the world. A potential positive impact of an extended period of deflation in the country may be that it helps to curb rising prices in other parts of the world, including the UK.
Well, thank you for staying with us, and straight into our first story, as renowned economist Kwame Pianim says Ghana is bankrupt. According to Mr. Pianim, the country is struggling to meet its financial obligations, including salaries, allowances and other payments that are due. He was speaking at the 3 Business TV3 Thought Leadership series at the TV3 premises in Kanda.
I think for the first time during all this economic crisis, the Minister for Finance in a statement to Parliament said we are in a deep crisis. We haven't heard that before. And the crisis we are in now, we've never been there before. We are bankrupt as a nation. We are having it difficult to pay salaries. Teachers, nurses who have been to allowances are not being paid. We are finding it difficult to pay government bonds. You know, banks, insurance companies are asked to put their monies in government bonds because it's safe. Yes. Now it is not safe. It took us a long time to get Ghanaians to put their monies in banks. Now, you put your money in the bank, they say they folded up the bank. Your money is not there. You buy T-bills, they say we are giving you a haircut. It will take us another maybe 10 years to get confidence back into the banking system for people to put their monies there. It's becoming very difficult to put their monies in the banks. If you have foreign exchange, you try to bring it. They are saying, where did the money come from? We are persecuting you. Are we being holier than the Pope? So, what is that?
Meanwhile, speaking at the same event and as the country continues to grapple with the present economic crisis, economist Professor Godfred Bokpin says it will take up to 30 years to fully recover.
In April 2002, the president of Côte d'Ivoire took a decision to reduce the number of ministers from 41 to 32. I'm talking about Côte d'Ivoire, our neighbors. Inflation in Côte d'Ivoire is around 3.2 or 3.5%. Of course, we can see marginality because of they use the pegged currency. The pass-through of exchange rate to price development is low compared to Ghana, and therefore their imported inflation and the rest of that, you see marginality. But you see that leadership has, we failed to respond. We failed to respond.
And that's what's continued to this point.
Yes.
You say, based on your assessment, it's going to take, what, 30 years for us to get out of this situation?
You know,
At least 30 years.
Do you know what it means like to render the central bank balance sheet negative like this? We are exposed. As a country, we are exposed.
Well, still on our Thought Leadership series, and former Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovations, Professor Frimpong Boateng, has criticized government's industrialization agenda, beginning with the One District, One Factory initiative. According to him, industrialization goes beyond just setting up industries.
1D1F is not industrialization. You are setting up industries without linkages. You know, I mean, you can compare it to what Nkrumah did. If you are industrializing, you do things that will help you improve upon what you are doing in future, so that there will be linkages. Nkrumah set up a glass factory in Abosso, and he knew that he was going to get the raw material, the sand from Zima, which was quite close. But he did not have the time. Think about the Sanyo factory in Tema, for example. You just assemble radios without thinking about the next thing, building transistors and doing those things in this country. Then it is not industrialization. So if we set up a factory to process juice and you don't think about the next step, so what next?
Now, inflation has once again increased to 43.1% in July from 42.2% in June. This is the third consecutive month the rate is witnessing an increase. Data released by the Ghana Statistical Service indicates that the surge in food and non-alcoholic beverages inflation was the driving force behind the overall inflation rise at 55%, while non-food inflation settled at 38.3% for July 2023. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim has been speaking to the issue.
Consumer Price Index and rate of inflation for the month of July 2023. Consumer Price Index for the month of July 2023 stood at 191.0 index relative to 133.5 that was recorded for the same time period, that is July 2022. Comparing these two indices, that is 191.0 and 133.5, year-on-year inflation for the month of July 2023 stood at 43.1%. Year-on-year inflation for the month of July 2023 stood at 43.1%. This literally means that between July 2022 and July 2023, general price levels of goods and services went up by 43.1%.
Well, let's bring you more stories now, as the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications has raised concerns about the prevailing expensive cost of data within the country. The chamber highlighted the pressing need for policies that align with broader objectives and strategies, fostering an environment conducive for business transformation. Chief Executive of the Chamber, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, addressed the media at the Chamber's 22nd Knowledge Forum in partnership with GSMA.
The cost of even data, for example, is still expensive. And the cost of data will be expensive because in Ghana, you decided that your 2x10, spectrum, when you were auctioning the 800 megahertz, you're going to sell that at 60 point something million, and definitely then the MNO that would buy that, or you sell the 2x5 at $30 million, the MNO that would have to amortize all of that would also result in the cost. So it is important that, we look in terms of aligning our policies with a bigger objective and the bigger strategies that we want, so that we can drive that. And to be able to get this to go again, all of us have to work together.
Let's now turn our attention to the forex market to find out how major trading currencies are faring. Well, still relative stability there with the dollar. Let's now move to the commodities market and find out how major commodities are faring. The price of cocoa is up by 0.24%, is trading at $3,384 per ton. Price of gold, however, has dropped by 0.44%, trading at about $1,916. However, the price of crude oil is up by about 1%, trading at just about $87 per barrel. Well, that will be all for Business Brief here on TV3. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Lubudu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe.